Sensational news. Putin appeared in public and it's a shock. This video featuring the dictator has exploded online. Strange hands and signs of a serious illness. The British are revealing the Kremlin's terrifying plan. The successor is already prepared. The Kremlin elite is in a panic, generals are whispering, the elites are packing their bags, and the people are rising up against the regime. We'll talk about all this next, so watch until the end. Greetings from Ukraine. This is Renata Aslanova with the latest events. Putin's new appearance and new theories. Something incredible is spreading across the internet. There really is something wrong with the dictator. Everyone noticed Putin's strange behavior. The video was originally published by the Russian movement Healthy Fatherland. It discusses the initiative to ban vapes in Russia.
I will take the liberty to ask you to consider introducing a complete ban on vapes in the territory of the Federation. Of course, we would all like to live in both physical and mental health.
We are consistent.
We are ready. So the government will support it. We ourselves go to the locations and record violations. At the moment, there are more than 5,000 violations, so we really need your support.
It's important to decide and act on it.
Yes. Thank you very much for listening to us and supporting us. Thank you so much.
Later, the Natalev Telegram channel published a video featuring the head of the Kremlin and showed his hands separately.
Funeral processions are a thing of the past. Now, bazooka arms are in fashion. Online, people are puzzled about what happened to the hands of the Russian dictator. They look extremely painful. Amusingly, in the video, people wished Putin good health. Or maybe he's an alien humanoid.
This is far from the first time the media has paid attention to Putin's health condition. For example, the British publication The Sun also noticed something was wrong. They even wrote that the Russian dictator shows signs of Parkinson's disease. He looks unwell. They also pointed out his unnatural postures as the head of the Kremlin. The health condition of the 73-year-old Putin has repeatedly become a topic of discussion in the media. There have even been reports that the dictator is suffering from cancer. In April 2022, the Russian publication Purged released an investigation into Putin's health. It found that there is an oncologist on the Russian president's medical team. Also, according to them, the composition of the medical team is very telling.
Otolaryngologist Alexei Shcheglov and Igor Yasakov, as well as surgeon Evgeny Selivanov, are Putin's most frequent companions. For example, over 4 years, Shcheglov flew to Sochi to see Putin 59 times and spent a total of 282 days by his side. Selivanov did so 35 times, spending 166 days.
This team of doctors is with Putin when he stays at his residence in Sochi and during periods when he does not appear in public for a long time. The project writes that Selivanov specialized in diagnosing and treating thyroid cancer in elderly and senior patients. In addition, the head of the main intelligence directorate, Kyrilo Budanov, also spoke about Putin's serious illness. For example, in December 2022, British media reported that Putin had been diagnosed with a number of serious illnesses: cancer, schizoaffective disorder, and Parkinson's disease. Budanov also confirmed this information.
Back in 2021, there was a statement, "It seems to me that Putin is very ill with cancer." And now everyone is starting to say that something is wrong with him. Time will tell who was right.
Urgent! Putin is preparing to rule until 2050. The British have revealed the Kremlin's terrifying plan. You will be surprised when you hear it. The 73-year-old dictator dreams of sitting on the throne for years, and shock, there is already a successor. Watch further for all the details of the sensational investigation.
The Russian dictator Putin has already ruled longer than many of his predecessors, and a new publication only adds fuel to the fire of rumors, according to a British tabloid. He allegedly wants to stay in power until the age of 97.
Do you really think that people will be able to live for 150 years or more?
Yes, I think when we were going to the parade, the chairman talked about this. Well, yes, this topic at one time. Mr. Berlusconi didn't really pursue actively.
His power is so concentrated that the question of when he will leave now sounds less like an expectation and more like rhetoric. The constitution was rewritten, term limits were reset, and he can remain president until 2036.
Modern means of health improvement, medical treatments, even various surgical procedures related to organ replacement allow humanity to hope that an active life will be possible and will continue differently than it does today.
But the plans, it seems, are even broader. Putin's inner circle is reportedly overseeing projects related to life extension in which his eldest daughter, Maria Vorontsova, an endocrinologist involved in scientific initiatives, is also participating.
We know that Putin's eldest daughter, endocrinologist Maria Vorontsova, works in this same field. In a field where, much to the delight of the ruling elders, technologies of the distant future are mixed in, like genome editing to prevent cell division from degrading over time. and 3D printing of entire organs, as well as various other worldly antics, such as meetings with shamans.
Perhaps it's no coincidence that we recently noticed a video where Putin and Xi Jinping discuss how human life will become significantly longer, as if preparing for a new era in which both the state and its leader will remain in power much longer.
In the past, people rarely lived to 70. Now at 70, you're still a child. And how does Putin respond to that? With the help of biotechnology, organs will be able to be replaced endlessly. People might even achieve immortality. To which Xi Jinping responds once again. Some predict that in this century, people will be able to live up to 150 years.
Obviously, there will be no retirement. He clings to power, ruling not only today, but also the decades to come. And everything around him says so. He has no intention of leaving the political stage just yet. We
have long known that the president of the Kurchatov Institute, Mikhail Kovalchuk, is not only obsessed with the genome of Russianness. He not only talks about genetic weapons aimed exclusively at Slavs, but also leads large-scale research in the field of aging and its prevention.
A leader who has set a record for time at the helm, a school of management without a successor, and scientific technological projects in which his family is integrated. All of this forms a troubling image. The image of a person who is not just counting on another term, but on a long-term life in the seat of power.
It's not at all surprising that when they meet, two elderly dictators discuss how to cheat death, just as there is no doubt that this question occupies their minds more and more with each passing year. How can they stop this perfect moment and make sure the future never arrives? After all, in that future, they do not exist, which is absolutely unacceptable.
If the sources are to be believed, the price for this has been and remains extremely high. Not just for him, but for the entire system in which he has become the center.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism, and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine today. Join us now. But it's not only Putin's health that's failing him. A purge of the Russian elite is brewing. Everyone is betraying Putin one after another. General Gerasimov is hanging by a thread, and Putin is preparing to remove the military leadership because of failures at the front. The partisans have obtained exclusive information.
The Kremlin is extremely dissatisfied with his work and the falsified reports from the front. Putin has given Gerasimov a deadline to capture Pokrovsk by mid-November. This order is the general's last chance to keep his position.
According to the Atesh movement, candidates to replace Gerasimov are already being discussed in Putin's inner circle. The most likely successor is said to be Colonel General Viktor Poznakir, who has a reputation as a controllable and more loyal officer to the Kremlin. Meanwhile, the youth uprising against Putin's dictatorship is only gaining momentum with each passing day. But the good Russian singer Nauka, who performed anti-war and anti-Putin songs in St. Petersburg and was almost gathering a Maidan, found followers on the streets of the city in Petersburg.
The concert was interrupted by the police. At least 3 musicians were detained and are being sent to the 1st Police Department.
The local authorities are getting nervous, hot news is reaching Putin, the Z public senses something is wrong, and the propagandists are starting to whine.
It's striking how much the Russian authorities are afraid of children and words.
What can I say? It seems Putin is now afraid of absolutely everything. The Kremlin is on the verge of exploding. The bunker dictator, who for years seemed all-powerful, now sees conspiracies everywhere. Allies are turning away, generals are whispering, and the elites are quietly packing their bags. Will the Bunker King's throne fall in the near future? Find out more about this coming up next.
For almost a quarter of a century, Vladimir Putin has been building a system of personal power in Russia, a totalitarian state where any dissent is punished to instill fear and cement the regime. But today, this monolith is beginning to crack. The Russian dictator is in a panic, afraid of losing his grip on Russia. As the Telegraph writes, the bunker dweller is meticulously guarding his regime against any threats. Recently, the FSB accused Mikhail Khodorkovsky and 22 other members of the Russian anti-war committee of preparing a coup d'etat. According to the security service, the organization is allegedly planning a violent seizure of power and the overthrow of the constitutional order.
This tells us that the Kremlin is paranoid. Putin is looking for enemies in an attempt to strengthen his regime. John Herbst, senior director of the Eurasia Center at the Atlantic Council, and former US ambassador to Ukraine.
After spending 10 years in a Siberian prison, Khodorkovsky was released in 2013 and fled to Europe, where in 2022 he founded the Anti-War Committee. In an interview with The Telegraph, he stated that the FSB's accusation reflects the Kremlin's fear of the future and the issue of power transfer.
What do we have in Russia? A prime minister who was not elected by anyone but appointed by Putin. Courts appointed by Putin. A parliament whose seats were filled as a result of fraudulent elections and in whose legitimacy no one believes. Mikhail Khodorkovsky, Russian entrepreneur and publicist.
They couldn't care less about the liberals who fled after being neutered. They're not afraid at all. They're not afraid of each other, of the same kind of predators. Those who walk around you, smile in your face every day, and swear loyalty. These are the ones who can, and Putin knows this perfectly well. And the Medvedev incident with Prigozhin, even if it was staged, clearly showed that no one is going to protect him. Neither the National Guard, nor the police, nor the rank and file, nor the generals, no one cares, no one gives a damn. And that's why Putin is afraid. And
indeed, fear becomes the key word. The dictator is cornered, and the economic situation only heightens the anxiety. Russia's Minister of Economy, Maxim Reshetnikov, has admitted that the country is on the verge of a recession. The banking system is suffocating under the debts of defense enterprises. According to Harvard analyst Craig Kennedy, $190 billion in loans have been issued to defense industry companies without guarantees. And now this bubble could burst at any moment. Moreover, Ukrainian drones have destroyed more than half of Russia's oil refineries, forcing Russians into huge lines at gas stations and causing shortages of fuel. And new sanctions from across the ocean have only intensified the blow. Donald Trump has imposed the most painful restrictions since the start of the war. The giants Rosneft and Lukoil have come under fire. Now China and India are reducing their purchases of Russian oil. Almost 3 million barrels per day are at risk. And along with them, half of the Kremlin's revenues. But Putin fears not only internal threats, but also external ones. The dictator is stretching more and more air defense systems around the Kremlin. There are already 5 layers of defense around the capital. S-300 and S-400 systems are being brought in from all regions.
What do you think about the latest events? Share your opinion in the comments. Like the video to stay up to date with the main news. There's more to come.